Also, if you have any question, please drop a message on the chat. So either Moonlight or I can pick it up. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get started. And I just sent you guys the link for today's workshop on the group chat, and you can open that Notion so you can get everything from here. And don't worry if you cannot follow all of it. So you can always get access to this Notion. So you can get the code and the explanation anytime you need. Okay, let's get started. I think all of you have a laptop, and also we need some basic knowledge of JavaScript. And please create a CodeSandbox account. It's a browser-based editor, which is very convenient. We don't need to install anything to run React on the because it's browser-based. So it looks like this. And I think I can just open one of it and share with you. Where is it? Chat. So just click on it, and you can get into this page. And this is the repository I made for this workshop. And what you need to do is to click on the right top corner, the fork, and then you can fork this repository to your own account and you can save it. So today's workshop, we're gonna have different steps, and in every step, I have a link in the beginning, and then you can start from this place. So you don't need to worry you didn't finish the code for each session. Okay. Let me do a very brief self-introduction. My name is Monmon. I love cat, code, and yoga. I joined the Lewagon full-time course in July 2022, so it was 2 years ago. And I worked as a civil engineer before, and after the boot camp, I became a full stack web developer. For now, it's almost 2 years, and I did freelancer job in the beginning, and now I become full-time. And here is my LinkedIn. If you have any question to ask, you can just find me here. So what will you learn today? Let's create a very cool to-do app. And we're gonna learn the some very important concepts of React by creating this app. And you can see we gonna let the user to create a new task, and then the user can click on this little check mark to mark it as finished, and then it's gonna disappear from your page. Okay, and here is some key points we're gonna learn from this course. Okay. And let's talk about a little about what is React. According to the Stack Overflow Developer Survey 2023, Node.js and React.js are the most common web technologies used. And it is a library for web and native user interface. This is according to the homepage of React. And native user interfaces means it can used by specific particular platform like mobile or desktop. So it is just a JavaScript library help us to create website. No matter it is a web app or it is a mobile app. And the most important concept in React is components. So it let us to create UI from components like thumbnail, like button, and video. So something like this. This is one component. And then you can use this component to create your page. And how the component look like in the code. So you see, this is an example. It is a function that's very interesting because in React, each component is created by a function. And inside this function, it's gonna return a piece of HTML. So it is HTML inside JavaScript. And it is more interesting because you can see inside the HTML, there is JavaScript code. So this kind of syntax is called JSX. And JSX is a syntax extension for JavaScript that allows us to write HTML-like code directly within JavaScript. So we can just create a component, something like this, and it can have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It doesn't care what language you are using. It just gives you a basic unit of component. And it is another very important concept called use hook. This allows us to add interactivity wherever you need it. For example, if you type something in the input and you see the videos are changing. So whenever user types, React will update the page to match the new data that is use hook. If you check the documentation, you may see a lot of use hooks, but you don't need to be overwhelming because we only need to know some basic ones, like use state and use effect, or maybe use memo and use callback. If you know use state and use effect, you can solve the most problem in your work. And before, React is only a front-end framework, but now if you can use Next.js, you can just go full stack. So this is the introduction of React. Okay, any question so far? All good? Okay, let's just get started to create our app. So now please click on this link, React Workshop 0, and we can get started from here. And if you click on this one, you can see the left side, there is a file explorer, and the middle side is code. It's just as same as VS Code. And the right side is a preview. So if you change anything, you can see it directly here. And if you click on this button, you can have the console. Okay, so we have everything ready. Okay. Oh, Eric is asking for the Notion link. Okay, let me just share it again. Okay, nice. So let's just check the structure of the React app. We see there is index.html, but inside this HTML, there is nothing. There is only one div with the ID root. And this root actually is inside this index.js. You can see this root is rendered. So inside this root, there is an app. The app is import from ./app, and we click on this app.js. Finally, we find the h1 tag. Welcome to the React workshop here. So the code is inside here, and we're gonna render it to HTML by React. And if you type something here, and it will change on the preview. And now I would like to ask you to change this Mario as a variable. So we can have variable inside our HTML. How can we do that? You see, this function is just a JavaScript function, and there is a return value. So if you want to define a variable, we need to define the variable before the return value. For example, I do const name, and I say the name as Mario. And now, instead of hard code Mario, I can just use the name here. But if I have name, it's just a string name. So we need to let React know it is not a string, it is a variable. So the syntax is the curly bracket. If I write the variable name inside the curly bracket, it knows it's JavaScript. So I can have the name here. Okay, so this is how we pass a variable inside our HTML code. And now I'd like to ask you to do a very simple practice. Actually, this is only JavaScript practice, is nothing new. So I'd like to have a grading instead of this one, and I want the grading change by current time. If it is between 0 to 12 o'clock, I'd like to show good morning. And if it's 1 to 13 to 16 o'clock, I would like to show good afternoon. And the other time, I would like to show good evening. And let's think about this. This is very simple logic. We just need to check the current hour. And if it's less than 12, just set the grading string as good morning. If it's less than 18, set it as good afternoon, and else set it as good evening. And give you another hint, in JavaScript, we can get the current time by new date, and you can apply get hours on this current time to get the current hour. So that is pretty simple. And let me see the time. Okay, we have some time. So I will give you 5 minutes. If you can just practice this by yourself, and we're gonna do it together in 5 minutes. I already have the answer in Notion, but please have a try by yourself first. Okay, how is it going? Is that too easy? Okay, nice. So if you have some difficult to do this, let's do it together. Okay, let me just clear this part. We have we need the current time, right? Current time equals to new date, and then we get current hour, and we use this current time dot get hour, and don't forget this parentheses, because in JavaScript always have parentheses to apply a function. And now let me just check how the current hour works. So I can see 19. Okay, it works well. And then I will define a greeting. It is a string. Okay, let me do empty string. There is a trick. If you click on Command S, it's you will save and it will automatically format your code. Okay, so now I can do the if statement. If current hour is less than 12, the greeting will be good morning. Else if current hour less than, where is it? else if current hour less than 18, greeting will be good afternoon, and else greeting is good evening. Okay, so now I will replace this to greeting, and now have good evening here. Okay, let's continue. So this is a warm up. Okay, the next is to display the to-do list. So we will write HTML, nothing fancy, it's only HTML, but we need to be clear what we're gonna have in our page. So look at this one. This is a final goal of our web page. So we have a banner in the top, which is a header, and the bottom there is a footer, set copyright 2024, and in between is a contents, and it can be divided to two parts. One part is a box to create a new task, and below is the tasks user created. And of course, for each task, there is a little card with the title and maybe some details and also a button. So now let's just do this HTML. So I just had a draft of this. So we have header and we have a contents. Inside contents, there is a new task div and also the tasks div and also footer in the end. Okay, so let's just do this one. We have some time, so I would like to ask you to do it by yourself. Okay, another 5 minutes. You can ask any questions if you want in the chat or just say it here. Okay, if you are new here, I will share the Notion on the group chat again, and you can check the Notion documentation. And we are in the first one, display the to-do list. And we are trying to practice this part. Okay, so now it's 5 minutes. How's it work? Okay, nice. Ran have questions about spacing. Are we working on space or tabs? Do you mean like here? I'm using tab. Am I understanding your question correct? Okay, if you are all okay, let's go to the next one. Is that okay? So, wait a second. So basically, it's nothing fancy here. It's just have a header with H1 and the greeting. We just finished this in the warming up part, and then the contents is a whole div, and inside contents there is two divs. One is the new note, another one is the notes. And for the new note, we need an input to let user to input whatever they want. And then the detail, because the detail may be long, so you can use input or text area. And there is also a button to add a new note. And then the notes, it is I just list the three notes inside. And for each note, for each node, there is one h1, which is title, and the p tag and the button to check. Once you check, it means you finish this task. And in the end, there is a footer. So that's it. I suppose you all are good. Okay. Let's go to the next one, which is create components. So now you can click on this link, or you are confident about your code, you don't need to. You can just continue with your previous one. So I will use this link. And I will fork it. Where is it? I cannot move this. Okay, so here is this second one, create components, and fork it. You can see we have everything here, even though it's hard-coded. So we have our draft. And now this part, we're gonna create the components. So component, how can we do that? We have some steps here. So first, you need to create a component folder and then create a file in the folder. And this is what the file is represent one component. And then create a function inside this file and return the HTML. And don't forget to export it. And when you want to use it, just import it and use it as any other tag, but it is a self-closing tag. Okay, let's do it together with header. So now we have this header, right? But we want to make it a component. First, I will go to source folder and create another folder called components. And inside components, I will create a file called header.js. And I use capitalized H because in React convention, the name of the component should be capitalized. And then I can create a function, the same name as the file, called header. And we use arrow function. And this arrow function only do one thing, that is return a piece of HTML code. So I will copy this part of header and return it. And I press Command S, it will format it for me. So now I can use this header to replace this HTML code. And I need to export it and import it. Import header from components header. And then replace it with this header. Be careful, it is a self-closing tag. But now there is reference error because it doesn't know what is greeting. The greeting logic is written in the app. So I need to move this to this header. Okay. So now I have the header component works. Next one, let's do the footer, which is just exactly same as header. So I copy this footer HTML code and create another file called footer.js and export footer. Oh, I forgot the const. And this function returns the footer. Okay. Next step is to import the footer from components footer and replace it. Okay. Nice. So far, so simple. And now we'd like to move the new node to a component. It's also just the same as what we did. So create a new file called new node.js and export const new node and return the HTML. So be careful, copy only this part with class name new node. And then I can import new node from components, new node. Same, replace this new node with the new node tag. Okay, finally, we're gonna do this nodes, which is a little bit tricky. Create a file, call it nodes.js, and export nodes, const nodes. And return these nodes. Okay, then these nodes will be replaced before I need to import. And the nodes will replace this whole part. Okay. So far, so good. But then we're gonna do something a little bit tricky. So until now, we just hard code these tasks, but I would like to use this file inside this data folder. So there is some default nodes we can use. You see there is export keyword already here. So if you want to use these nodes, what you can do is just to do the same thing to import the nodes from that folder. You need to go outside of this folder and find, oh, I'm wrong. So it's one dot and slash data and then to do. So here we can get the nodes from this data folder. And if you do console.log nodes, and click on this little button, I can see the nodes over here. 3 tasks. Okay, but I would like to use these nodes inside this nodes component. So I will remove this to the nodes. Okay, so here we have nodes, and we don't need to hard code it. We can use these nodes. How to use these nodes? It is an array, and each item is an object. Each object has some key and values. What we need is the title and the detail. So here, what we can do is to iterate over the nodes and to get the title and the detail. And then we don't need to hard code it. So how can we do that? So here we can do is to do nodes. We need a curly bracket because it's JavaScript code. So curly bracket nodes dot map, and then for each node, return some HTML for one node. So I will just copy and paste the HTML for one node, and have a parentheses for it. Oh, it's so messy. Okay, it doesn't like this one. Maybe I put it somewhere wrong. Okay, let me just replace this first node dot title and node dot detail. So here, it doesn't need this one. Okay. So I had a redundant curly bracket. Here I just need to return each node, and each node I can just read the title and the detail from this node, from each item inside this array. Okay, so now, it doesn't like it. So here, it's not the correct path. I need to go outside of these components first, and then go to data, and then to do. Okay. So now I just iterate over the nodes, the data nodes, and display it here. Okay, cool. And then next step, I have to like to extract this part of HTML to create another component node. And at this time, I don't want to create a new file because these nodes can have a node component inside here because node will only be used inside here, inside these nodes. And I will create component node, and it is just the same to return a node. And then what we can do is to replace a node. But you can see there is error because this component doesn't understand what is node, right? Because we don't have nodes in this component. And now let's talk about how to pass how to pass a prop from parent component to child component. So here, clearly the nodes is a parent component, and each node is the child component of nodes. And what we can do is to pass a param. So for example, I just pass node, and I will put the node here. But it is confusing, like everything is called node. I just change this node to n. So you can understand this is only the name it is using. You can even use it anything. It doesn't matter. And then I can pass a prop to this child component. And now I would like to, okay, so now because this causing error, so I will just do something to avoid the error message. So now for each node, we can see I'm hard coding the title and detail, but I want to console.log the prop. I want to see what is the prop this parent component is passing to this child. Click on the button to check the console, and now I can see the prop, which is an object. This object has a key called node, and inside this key is value. This value is one node, right? It has title, detail, finished, UID stuff. So here, if I change this node to another name, I just call it name, and then you can see the key change to name. So it's just a variable name. It doesn't matter, but to understand it, we call it node. And then we can use prop.node.title to read it. Okay. So now I'd like to introduce another concept, which is also very common. That is object destructuring. That is a syntax in JavaScript that allows you to extract properties from an object and assign them to variables. For example, I have an object called person. So in our case, let's see, it is prop. And inside this prop, you remember we have something called node. And inside this node, we have UID. We have some UID, we have title, we have detail, and also finished. So if you want to use the node as a variable, what you can do is just to do something like this. And now I can just console log node, and I will get this value. Okay, so let me just try. I'm gonna do const, which is node, because node is a key inside this prop. And then I can just do node without the prop, because I define the node again here. Okay, cool. So it's more clean here. Okay. And then the other important part is I only want to display the nodes which has finished as false. If it's finished, I don't want to see it here in the nodes list. So here, when you return this div with a node, maybe we can do a if statement to say if node dot finished is false, show it. If it's true, don't show it. And in React, there is very common syntax, this one, the AND operator. So if you want to have a variable to check if it's true or not, and if it's true and you want to show this piece of HTML, you do has message and the p tag. Then this p tag will only show if has messages is true. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna return if the node dot finished is false, and we're gonna show this. So now you see I changed this learn React as finished, and we cannot see this node in the list anymore. Okay, cool. Any questions? All good? Okay, let's get to the next one, which is create a new task. And we're gonna talk about use state, which is the most important use hook in React. We can go to this sandbox link and fork this one. Okay, and now I will deal with this new node, because every time I type something here, I would like to have this saved somewhere. And how can we do that? If you're familiar with JavaScript, you know there is something like event listener. So I can do on change. If this tag is changed, I can do handle title change. And every time this input is changed, I will call a function handle title change. And okay, let me just console log the event. Okay. Open the console, and if I type something here, I can see the event is showing. And inside event, we know there is target and there is the value, the value sum. So what I type will be saved in this event target value. So I just console log the event dot target dot value, and I type anything, I can see it is saved in this value. Okay, so what if I want to save it and I want to show it somewhere? So maybe I can just save it as a const. So for example, I do let title equals to, so the original title will be title. And then every time I type something, I want this title to be updated. And then I would like to see it as a p tag here. Title. Okay, the initial value of title is showing here. And I tap something. You see the event target value is changing. And the title is reassigned to this value, but it never changed here. Because this part will only read the initial value and it's never re-rendered. It's still the old one. So React have this useState to help us solve this problem, because useState can manage state and triggering re-renders in React components. It can just do two things. Manage state, it will save the new state. So every time I type something new, it will save the new state of title, and it will also re-render. So it will re-render this part and it will show the newest title for us. Okay, let's see how to use useState. First, you need to import, just as same as you import like a component. So I will do import useState from React. And the second one is to declare it inside your component in the beginning. And I will do const. So I name it as title. And the second one is a function called useTitle. And this useTitle can reset the title's value to give it a new state. And here I use useState and give it an initial value. So I give it initial value as title, and I can delete this one. So now, every time I type something, I want to reset the title to this value, and I can use this built-in function. Set title, set title, and give it the value I want it to change. Okay, so now you see the initial value of title is title, but every time I type, it's gonna follow what I type here. So this is how useState work. And now I would like to change this initial value to be just empty. And let's do it the same thing for detail. So I can do onChange on detail and give it a method, a function called handle detail change. and create another function, handle detail change. And it's just doing the same thing as handle title change. So set detail, but I'm not defining the detail yet. Okay, let me do that first. So after the definition of title state, create const detail, set detail, use state, same empty string. Okay, so I will set the new detail as event target value again. And let's just see this title, this detail here. Okay, so I kept anything as title, it shows up, and detail as well. Okay, nice. So now I can have title and detail saved in my state to help me to create a new node. So now I will delete the console and delete this p tag. Okay, great. So you can even refactor it further to just use one function, handle change, to make it. And you can check this code if you have time. And now I'd like to talk about this value in an input. Inside the input, there is an attribute called value. So we always need to keep this value as same as the state. And then you can control the component in React. So we always need that. Here you see this input. We need to give it value equals to title. And also for detail, value equals to detail. If you use state for any input, don't forget this value setup. Okay. This is about the use state. Any questions? And all good? Okay, let's go to the next step. This one is the most challenging part in this course because we are going to create a state for nodes. You see, now we have nodes saved here, but every time I tap something and I click on this plus button, what I want is to create a new item here and give the title as what I typed and the detail, and also a finish as false in the beginning. And if I click on the check button, I want to change the node finished as true. So I want to create a state for the nodes. But the question is, where should I save the node state? Because nodes is used like in a couple of components. It's not only used in one. And where should I put it? So here is the structure of our React app. You see, we have the grandparent component, which is the app, and it has children, header, nodes, new node, and header. Oh, should be footer. And then the nodes has a child called node. And if I have, so first of all, in the app, I need to see all the nodes. So here in the nodes component, I need to display all the nodes. Then I need to get the nodes state. And for each node, I can click on the check button to update node as finished. That means I need to use set nodes to just update this one node. And I also need to create a new node by setting nodes in this new node. And once I click on the plus button, I want to create one more node item to the nodes array. So it is a little bit complicated. And where should I put these nodes? Should I put these nodes here in the nodes, or in a new node, or in a node? What if I just create several node state? Then it's gonna be separate nodes. It won't link together because I only want one node's state, and different components can share this node's state. So I need to put this node state in the parent component, which is the app. And then the children can just use these nodes. So I can just pass the nodes and set nodes as prop to these children components and use them inside the children components. Does it make sense? So let's do it. First of all, I need to declare I am going to use state for the nodes. So in this app, the grandparent component, I'm going to import use state from React. And then in this parent component, I will do const nodes set nodes equals to use state. Okay, so now I have to set up the initial nodes. What I can do is just move this default value in the data to this use state. So now I have the original data as this one. Okay, so the first step, let's just pass these nodes to nodes component and let nodes component to display everything. Oh, that is not hard because we already know how to pass a prop. So here we're gonna say nodes equals to nodes, and we pass this state to the nodes component. And now go to the nodes component. I don't need this import anymore because I'm going to get the nodes from the prop. And then do the destructuring nodes, destructor the nodes from prop. Okay, cool. So you can see we can get the initial nodes from the app here and pass the nodes to this nodes component and show the nodes here. Maybe it's a lot of too much happening. So okay, let's continue. Let's try to create a new node. So here, let's focus on this new node component. If you want to create a new node, what do you want to do? So here is a button to create a new node. And I would like to say on click and handle click. So every time I click on it, it will call this function handle click. And inside this handle click, what I want to do is to create a new node with title and detail, UID, finished as false. And then push this new node to the node's state. Okay, so here, push the new node to the node state. That means we are going to change the nodes array. So here, what we need to use is to use this built-in function set nodes to change the node state. Okay, so now we are inside this new node, but how can we use this set node? We know in JavaScript, it's very convenient because we can even pass a function as a prop. So here, new node, I can just pass set node set nodes. And then I can just use this side nodes from the prop. So here, set nodes can be destructuring from prop. Okay, and now every time I click, let me just first create a new node. A node, we need title, which is this title state we already created. And detail. And finished, both, because when I created, I couldn't finish it. And UID. So UID, I can use UUID method and import it v4 as UUID from UUID. You may see, okay, what is this one? Okay, you may see this dependency not found. So you need to install UUID. You just click on this button and everything will be good. Okay, so now we are able to create a new node and then push this new node to the nodes. So we use set nodes, and this set nodes function has another magic, that is, it has an invisible variable, which is a priv nodes. So it can always give you the previous state. Here, we can just push this new node to these priv nodes. So return another array, and this array have the priv nodes and also the new node. Okay. So now, if I click on, if I just create a new title, a new node, you can see it is created over here. So it's added to this nodes array, the state of nodes. And after I click, I'd like to clear this string. So after I set nodes, I'd like to set the title as empty and set detail as empty. Okay, cool, nice. So that is how you can create a new node. That is, use the set nodes function and return a new nodes array with the new node. Okay, it is a little bit tricky. And then let's go through the final one, which is click on one node to change the finished status to be true. Okay, so now we need to go to nodes. And here on this button, we're gonna give it on click. Every time you click it, call the function handle click and define the function handle click. And inside the handle click, what we want to do is to find the node from the nodes. And then change the node.finished to be true. Okay, so we still need to use set node, right? Because we're gonna change the node's state again. And every time you need to use to change the states, you need to use set nodes. Then we need to pass the set nodes to this components, which is nodes. Set nodes equals to set nodes. And then inside nodes, so we pass the set nodes to nodes first, and we can get the set nodes from the nodes prop. So it is set nodes here, and then pass this set nodes to the grandchild, which is node. Okay. Okay, so now I can use the set node inside this node, and I will do this structuring. So from the prop, I have set nodes. And also I have node, right? Because you see, you can get the prop from here. In the prop, we have node, set nodes. The key is not necessary, so we don't care. Set nodes, node from the prop. And now I can just use node.title and node.detail without prop. Okay, and set nodes. How can we do this? Set nodes. And we can also get the private nodes first. And then we need to return a new array. But for each node, I need to do something. I need to check if this node is same as the node I'm showing. So I will use the UID to check if it's the same thing. And then I will return a node. So this node, everything else will be the same, but the finished will be true. I think it is a little bit overwhelming here because there's so many syntax over here. I hope you are not so sleepy until now. Okay, so now I'm checking if I'm iterating over the array, and for each node, I check if it's the same node I'm click on. So I will change the finish to be true. Else, return just exactly the same because I'm not changing anything of other one. The logic is, for example, every time I click on this one, so it will call the handle click here. And then the handle click will iterate over the priv nodes and check if the priv node, every node, it is the same node as which one I'm click. It will change that node to be finished. Else, it won't change anything. Okay, so now if let me try to click on one, so it's gone. Okay, so that's it. So this is everything about this keep this to-do app. Oh, I just make it keep again. It should be our cool greeting. I forgot to when I create this repository, I forgot to update. Okay. So basically this is all of the contents of the workshop. Let me know if you have any questions and if you about React or about the bootcamp.